Nothing speaks about the good of humanity like the undeniable evidence of colonialism, am I right? Hi, hello, how's it going? It's Lo. As some of you guys may know, as per the Brazilian legislation, I have 30 days of time off. Yes, I know, it's awesome. And I took 10 days off because I was very tired. 10, no, 15. I took 15 days off of work because I was very tired and I needed a break. So I got to rest a bit, and the best way to rest, in my humble opinion, is by reading as much crap as I can possibly cram in 15 days. If you're following me on Goodreads, you're more than aware that my reading habits this past month has been just fantasy romances that I've been consuming one right after the other, like a pack of Pringles. Just non-stop scooping trash into my mouth. None were particularly great, just like Pringles aren't particularly great, but there was one. There was one. One in particular that got me fucked up. And that book is Kiss of the Blood Prince by Alicia Thorne. I think that's her name. Alyssa. I really don't care about pronouncing this woman's name right because she committed so many crimes against my own person that I feel like I don't owe her the respect to properly pronounce her name. So if I mispronounced it, sue me. This book was a book that was on Kindle Unlimited, and much like everything on Kindle Unlimited, I thought, what if? And the if in question was my sanity. And so here I am telling you, making a video, to tell you not to make the same mistake as I have. I'm sure there are great things on Kindle Unlimited. So far, I have only encountered crap. I'm reading another book right now that's called The Curse of the Demon... No, it's called Demon Prince, and it's so fucking bad. I should probably do a series of this, just like shitty books that I can find on Kindle Unlimited. So the next time that someone says, well, but Kindle Unlimited is a great alternative to piracy, you can just show all of the Fae dick that I was forced to read and be like, are you sure that this is a material that you want people to be reading? Is this it? Anyway, let's read the synopsis for this book, shall we? Elise thought her biggest problems were her crap job and lack of a love life. But when a pissed off Fae prince attacks her train and she's taken as his slave, her problems are only just beginning. Prince Kian has spent years planning his revenge, and it's going to take more than one infernal female to stop him. It doesn't matter that desire burns between them and that she could be the key to saving him. The bloodlines who betrayed him will suffer his wrath even if it kills him. Kian needs her blood to break the curse that's destroying him. Elise needs to break his curse to win her freedom. Once a bargain is struck with the Fae, there is no breaking it. But will her freedom be worth it if she loses her heart and condemns England in the process? I wish she had condemned England, actually. I've read The Open Veins of Latin America and Babel, so I'm not particularly fond of the British Empire, you could say. Also, Cell pointed me towards the profile of the author, and I just really have to share this with you guys because it's Alyssa Thorne believes that all monsters and villains deserve their happy endings. She prefers her clothes black, eyeliner winged, and books full of hot romance. She thinks the heroes are boring, so her first series, The Court of the Underworld, which I'm not reading, centers around dark gods, monsters, and villains from her favorite Greek myths. I'm so tired. I have something to say. We have come to a point where I think we should leave Hades and Persephone alone. I once said that I would like to see a good retelling of Hades and Persephone, but at this point, I really cannot stand the myth anymore. I really cannot. I don't want to know about it. Just find some other myth to do your stupid weird Fae dick thing with. I am exhausted of Hades and Persephone retellings at this point. We have got to let it die. Just like, this is a trend. I understand it's a trend. Once again, Salah J Mistakes fucked me over with, which one of the books was it? I think it was the one who I couldn't read. Was it the second one of A Court in Mist and Fury? I honestly, I really cannot be bothered. But Salah J Mistake did something with the girlies that has them by their necks, and now everyone is doing Hades and Persephone, Beauty and the Beast retellings with Fae. And all of them have big dicks. And that's statistically unlikely. Statistically speaking, it's unlikely that the entire population of Fae in Fairyland have big dicks. I'm just saying, statistically, okay? I have a PhD. I'm getting a PhD. I know stuff sometimes. Anyway, as I was saying, this book drinks directly from the tit of the Salad J mistake mediocrity breast. Directly from the tit, because it's just like any other Fae book, and I've read a couple of them, many of them. It's just like that, except it's worse. Except it manages to get Sarah J. Maas and make it work. I'm planning a series where I reread books that I read. One of them is A Career to Mystic Fury, and I just restarted it, and it's like, it's so fucking anyway. But basically, Kiss of the Blood Prince is a story about how the Fae were once integrated with humans here on Earth, on the land of Albion. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. It's the old English name for England. And what happened was that they were betrayed by a specific subset of kings, and then they came back to Earth when they finally realized how they could break the spell that kept them to fairyland, and portal their way back into the human world via Stonehenge. So they used Stonehenge to come back to Earth. And then Stonehenge becomes fairy property. It's not really, if it sounds confusing to you, that's because it's confusing in the book. It doesn't make sense in the book either. So, you know, let's just roll with it. Anyway, this is a story about the Fae coming back to Earth to unleash punishment on Albion, or as we call it now, England. So far, so good. I'm down with the plan. Please enact punishment on England. The entire world would thank you for it. Louisa, you're being very hostile to England. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. What about it? Fucking sue me. Our main character in this blubbering mess is Elise, who's minding her own business in a job that's never been bothered to be described because it doesn't really fucking matter. And one day she's coming back home and she's in the train, and then something like Train to Busan happens, except it's just like people killing each other. It's not necessarily like there's no zombies in this book, which is a pity. Zombies would have made more sense. I would prefer to have zombies in this book. So it's like Train to Busan, except it's not like Train to Busan because there is no zombies. Also because Train to Busan is actually very good. And this book is not. So basically just people randomly start killing each other in this train car. And she's the only one who's not affected by whatever the fuck is going on. How did this happen, and why did this happen in the train? Never explained. Has to do with the Fae somewhat, but you can come up with a reason yourself. You can't possibly expect the author to write the book. Just like she never explains Elise's job, because, you know, her job is not necessarily that, what she does in the office. Her job is to hop on that Fae dick as soon as possible. You know, there's dicks to be hopped on, and Elise is not professional. Dad, I am so very sorry you found my channel. I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry about that. Anyway, she's not affected by the magic in the train, so the Fae warrior that suddenly appeared in the train is like, I'm intrigued. And he spares her from the carnage and takes her to his palace, which he grew from a rock or a crystal or whatever, and he grew a palace on top of Stonehenge, so that World Heritage Site is no more. And he takes her as his slave. And from there, a romance blossoms. The end. I wish I could kind of say more, but that's really kind of it. They spent the entire book just not fucking, and then they start to fuck, and then by the last tail end, there is this really ridiculous scene with the Prime Minister of England, and she gets waterboarded at a certain point, which also makes absolutely no fucking sense. And they make up, and they live happily ever after. That is it. So what has made this mediocre book more mediocre than the rest of the Fae smut that I read in my time off? Let's examine, shall we? First things first, the writing. Oh my fucking god, the writing in this book is atrocious. You could probably do a drinking game at this point. Whenever I say that a book that is badly written looks like it was written by a Wattpad fanfiction author, but it is true, and I'm so sorry that I have to keep saying this, but there's just like this specific subset of like ways to write, this specific style of authors trying to write an edgy romance that I could only find on Wattpad. But those girlies now found Kindle Unlimited, and so they're putting all of their work on Kindle Unlimited for free and terrorizing people who just want to read something and not pay their left kidney for it. Like, this book is what would happen if a Wattpad author thought, I can improve on A Court of Thorns and Roses, and decided to write that, except they're 13. And they're writing with their hands tied behind their back. So they're just like doing this on the fucking keyboard and coming with something. And they say, that's good enough. And then they post it. And it's okay when you're 13, but like, you really want to call yourself a published author with that? Is that what we're going with? Is this how far the craft has fallen? I am so, like, this book made me question if I like to read. Like, do I want to continue reading? Because if this is what I'm going to be subjected to, this is a book version of being waterboarded. I'm being too rough. That's soap fire. But this one is bad. This one is bad. It's another form of torture. You know what this book reminds me of? That really stupid Horsemen of the Apocalypse series. Because it's a series where, like, there are brothers, and each brother is Fae, and each brother has to be convinced that humanity is worth saving. It's much like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse series. But the Horsemen of the Apocalypse series got 2 stars for me because it had a camp factor that was it was too good, as you can probably recall from my one video talking about it. And this one did not have the camp factor. It was just cringe. So I can appreciate camp, but not necessarily cringe. Cringe is not my area. It's not my cup of tea. But it's not just me saying. Let me read some excerpts to you so you can understand that I am not just saying that the writing in this is atrocious. I can prove it because I have receipts. So let's look at some of the highest contenders in this book, shall we? Girl, you have issues, Chrissy's voice said in the back of her mind. Elise wished she was there so she could get her advice. Knowing Chrissy, her advice would be, bitch, how is this even a problem? Get some of that hot Fae D while you can. Get some of that hot Fae D while you can. When I read that, I will not lie, I had to put the book down and sort of take a stroll because that was too much. That was an arrangement of words in a specific order. I did not know. I never wanted to listen to, but I did. So, yep. Every time Elise called him my maid, her psychopath prince turned into a puddle of goo, or she got pounced on in the best way possible. Wait, there's more. Trapped with a schizophrenic Fae prince because life can't get any worse. Holy mother of ableism, am I right? The prince does not have schizophrenia, by the way. He's just a murderer, and she does not know that words have meaning. Also, what this author does not know, plot, because there isn't one. This is a book that requires, once again, a coma of disbelief to make sense. Actually, before you read this book, you sort of have to... Wait a second. You sort of have to sort of go... You know that one lobotomy spot that is right here? Yeah, you sort of have to go like... You know... to be able to read this book and somehow make some sense out of it. I actually did end up hitting myself, and this actually hurt. This is so stupid. Jesus. Basically, the plot is, the Fae were in the human world. They were betrayed. They were cast out to the fairyland. There was a huge massacre that happened. And Stonehenge was somehow the portal between the worlds. So, in order to cast revenge, they want to come and destroy all of London, specifically? Why why London specifically? Just because how would the Fae know that London is the capital of England? Was London even the capital of England at that time? Because I think that by the time the Stonehenge was a thing, it was different kingdoms, was it not? I'm not really brushed on the history of the United Kingdom before it went out of its way to colonize everybody else, so I wouldn't be sure. But I have an idea that, you know, the Fae have some odd knowledge of geopolitical structure of modern day United Kingdom, except for the king or queen at the time, because this book said fuck the queen, and not in the way that I can personally agree with. So basically, the plot and the idea and the whole conflict is that this Fae prince wants to come here and kill everyone who descends from the bloodlines of these specific kings. So a huge chunk of the population of London is killed, like, within a week. So they kill and hang people on the streets and take their children, and that's it. That's just what he came to do. There is no further plan. There is nothing else. He just came to do that. The plot in this book has more holes than a pasta strainer. But it's like, it's made clear. This is the part where it really fucked with me, because it's made clear that he made this huge purge in the city of London. Okay, even if we understand. Okay, so the point was that he only wanted to get revenge, and he wanted the only thing that he wanted was to enact his revenge. Okay, I can fuck with that. I too wanted to enact vengeance on the city of London, but that is neither here or there. Let's imagine that he is indeed just wanting to enact his revenge. And then he goes and does it. Okay, he goes and he kills a bunch of people in London, hangs corpses by poles, just like fucking, just corpses all around, and kills a bunch of people. And the UK army does nothing. NATO? Who is she? Nothing happens, not even a bomb. There is a point in the book where they're like, oh, NATO is considering bombing the castle. And I'm like, NATO is considering? NATO is considering? Bitch, if we in Latin America sneeze the wrong way, the United States is already planning 3 different coups. And like, do you think that you could just pop up a castle and kill a bunch of people in London in the middle of the UK and nothing was gonna happen? Like, these people, nothing was happening. Nothing. The most that the people did was like take 2 squads and take shots at the people, and then like it's implied that the Fae are immune to guns and weapons up until the moment where a specific character, and here's a spoiler if you want to read this, but up until the moment where Kian, who's the prince, takes a shot to save Elise, and she proceeds to give him CPR to a guy who has a punctured lung from a gunshot. So she gives him CPR. He took a shot. We have to talk about this. We have to discuss this, okay? The guy takes a shot. He's shot in the chest, okay? Punctured lung. Pneumothorax. I think that's how it's called. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And what does the main character does? Yes, she goes and she starts giving him mouth to mouth and doing CPR on a guy who has a punctured lung from a gunshot. Mouth to mouth CPR. This was not a very enjoyable reading experience, as you can probably tell. The book lacks so much internal consistency. It's crazy because it says one thing one moment, and then the next one, it just does completely different. And it's like, this book was not much plotted, as it was just whatever it felt like it could be cool for the author to write. Because like right after we're taken to see, like, London was decimated, apparently, up until a specific time in the book. And then but suddenly, we have this part. Despite the Fae army attack and the strange oaks lining the Thames, London was busy as usual. Elise had expected roadblocks at the very least. It would take more than the return of mythical creatures to slow business down. This makes no fucking sense. Are you telling me that a foreign force just plopped in the middle of in 2 hours by car from London, the financial center of the UK, and like Also, by the way, Stonehenge is written almost like it's like right next door from London. It's actually a 2-hour drive. I did not know that. I had to Google that. This is not a lot for me, but I live in Brazil. I could drive for 2 hours and see nothing but cows. But anyway, the point is, a foreign military force would plop down outside of the city of Bath. And the UK military not only did not do anything, but the people, the hundreds of people who witnessed the bloody murder of their companions and other people, their neighbors, their loved ones, these people who witnessed that happen, whose government did jack shit to stop it, these people would be like, damn, hundreds of people were brutally murdered and hung from trees. I am extremely traumatized. But I have Pilates at 7, so, you know, gotta do what I gotta do. If anything, that's New York City. Like, this book is a dystopian nightmare. Maybe, here, listen, maybe this book was about the shortcomings of capitalism and I did not notice. Maybe I'm too stupid. Maybe it was lost. The meaning of that was lost between the Fae dick and the careless use of schizophrenia as a derogatory word. So maybe I'm just too stupid to see the criticism that was done on the capitalist system that forces us to continue living our lives, even though we're forced to bear witness to extreme tragedies every day caused by a foreign military power. So maybe this is a critique on the history of the UK. Or maybe I'm just losing my fucking mind. Magic system in this book? None. No, it does exist. I thought that we were going to have some book magic because right at the beginning, she said that she works with books. And then she proceeds to organize an entire library by alphabetical order, which is like, are you a librarian? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm not a librarian and I know that you don't organize an entire library by an alphabetic order. It's not how it works. But like right at the beginning, there's this one excerpt that she takes a book that has dark magic in it. And the prince is like, never touch this again. And she's like, okay. And then really, she never touches it again. And it never really comes up again because it doesn't really fucking matter. That whole scene was just fucking useless. There was no reason for it to exist, but it was there. For what reason? I do not know. Because she can't be bothered to do some actual world building, but she can be bothered to write some deeply uncomfortable sex scenes for us to read. Because, you know, that's writing. That's art. So there is no internal consistency in this book, but also there is no external consistency as well, because here's the thing, the Fae lie in this book. And listen, Fae is not really a part of Brazilian folklore, so I'm really unfamiliar with it, but I had an idea that the Fae could not lie, and I thought that this was like a huge thing for them, that they could not lie. Apparently, never the fuck mind, because the Fae are whatever the fuck that the author wants to fuck at the moment. So like whenever they're like, I need a hot, dangerous character, they're like, I'm gonna go with Fae. Like, what has someone ever thought of doing that with any other character at this point? Because it's always the fucking Fae. Like, Salad J Mistake has done egg scrambles of the girlie's brain, and like, why don't people write it with a Yeti? Like, I don't know, just fucking the hot Yeti or something. I don't care. You know what? Never mind. This was probably done. And someone in my comments will actually sometimes come and be like, actually Chunk Tingle did write a book about fucking a Yeti, and I will be forced to read it out of morbid curiosity. So let's forget about the Yeti thing, okay? Unless you want to fuck a Yeti. I am not against monster fuckers, okay? I respect all the monster fuckers in my life. It's just that, you know, there are some lines that I would prefer not to cross. Anyhow, the book is as consistent as a soap bubble, and the whole appeal just lies on how hot and fuckable the main character is. Is he hot? I guess. So the foundation of this book is flimsy. The writing is atrocious. There is no plot, but this is not what made me want to record this video. What made me want to record this video was two specific moments that happened back to back. Because Elise wants to prove to Prince Kian that humanity is worth saving. So she has a brilliant idea. What does she do? She takes him to the British Museum. the British Museum. She takes him to the British Museum. The British Museum. Driving in London was a special kind of torture that didn't get much better after the sun went down. Elise parked illegally in the street near the British Museum, and Kian did a glamour on it so it wouldn't get towed. Being the maid to a Fae prince had its perks, including having the night security guards open the doors for them with a smile and a nod. Try to keep that big brain of yours open, Elise said, taking Kian's hand. Because he hadn't believed her about the winged lion statues, Elise trooped him straight to the Assyrian collection. I had no idea that humans were capable of such artistry, Kian said, ignoring the no-touching signs and running his fingers over a flank of a sculptured lion. Wait until you see the Egyptian collection, she said, with a delighted laugh. Elise wisely didn't take him anywhere near the Sutton Hoo exhibits or anything else Anglo-Saxon in case it triggered him. Because, you know, nothing says humanity is worth saving like the undeniable evidence of colonialism, destruction, and pillaging brought by the British Empire all over the world, am I right? Of all the places that she could have taken him to prove that humanity was worth saving, she takes him to a monument of stealing. And never once he asks the question, I wonder how this mummy came up to be here. Because if he had, then I suppose that this book would have a very different ending. But yeah, the British Museum. She takes him to the British Museum. And when I read that, I lost my shit. Because... oh my god. Elise, did you fucking tell him about Mummy Brown? Remember when the British took the mummies and ground them into dust and then made them into a paint? Remember that? Do you remember? Remember that? Because that's what the British Museum stands for. You know, I'm just saying. The British Museum. The British Museum. She takes him. She's like, let's go on a joyride to the British Museum to prove that humanity is worth saving and they're not all betraying bastards. She takes him to the pinnacle of British colonialism. So at that moment, I thought, this author can go suck a This author is not serious. And if this author is not serious, I shouldn't be serious about this book either. Because I am through it. And when I thought it couldn't be worse, she has a scene where she invites the prime minister over for tea and biscuits in order to negotiate the peace between the kingdoms. And she, a total nobody, is like negotiating peace treaties between the prime minister of the UK, which, by the way, she also said, fuck the queen, because she's like, I'm not going to call the queen, because the queen, who the fuck cares about the queen? Which, once again, my alarm went off because I have to take out the trash. Once again, is a sentiment I can very much be behind off. But like the whole exchange is so fucking stupid. Let me read it to you guys. Kian wanted to remain at Stonehenge, with a vast stretch of land around it in which he could grow a forest and settle a small Fae population. They would be answerable to the land's laws, and any judgment or disciplinary action would be overseen by Kian. Bane would keep his castle in an area in the north of Scotland for the winter Fae, ill-suited to southern climates. This is his brother, whose the next book is about. I'm not going to read it. The humans and the Fae would learn to coexist, trade together in knowledge and skills, and the most crucial part of all, the world would be told the real history of the Dark Ages battles and the atrocities carried out against the Fae. Kian told them exactly what had happened and why he was so driven to carry out the revenge he did. In return, all hostilities against Britain would cease. No, he would not return the children. They would be well cared for, and perhaps when they were adults, if they wished to return to Albion, they would be permitted. The Prime Minister would have to speak with Scotland about Bane's present, but the other requests were not unreasonable. You just stole like thousands of kids, but the other requests were not unreasonable. Also, like, Britain telling the true story of literally anything? Like, please, if you're from Britain, let me know just how much do you know about the atrocities carried out by the British Raj in India? Like, just, you know, out of the top of my head. How much would you told about the atrocities? How much would you told about the atrocities of the English in Latin America or in Africa? Like, how much would you, like, how much? How much would you tell? But this is not unreasonable. This is not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable. No, to ask the British Empire to divulge a dark part of its history, it's not why people still fight to this day to have their genocide. It's recognized. No, 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 no. It's not reasonable. You know why? It's reasonable because these people are white. These people are white. And they're not Irish, which the British also seem to think are not white. So the foreign politics, wrap it up real tight, shove it up. After that, Kian gets shot because there is this exchange. Pull yourself together, man. You're meant to think of the good of Britain, not just your own personal grievances, the Prime Minister chastised. Gatesbridge, who waterboarded her, shook his head like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. No, this is our country, and I won't allow it to go to ruin because some tart decided to open her legs to the enemy, he snarled. Elise didn't see the gun before he had fired, and she was thrown to the ground with Kian on top of her. So he gets shot. Apparently now he's vulnerable to guns. He was not until this moment. Then then she says the following. You don't get to die on me today, you arrogant fey dick. Elise put her mouth to his and blew in a deep breath before starting chest compressions. She had to learn CPR when caring for her dad, and Elise wasn't about to lose another man she loved. Not this time. So yeah, that's how the book ends. The book ends like that. She takes him to the British Museum. He comes back, says, England, fuck off. And England is like, okay, I will be told to fuck off. And he gets shot, but then he gets alive again because the power of love, yada yada. That's how it fucking ends. And that's it. That's the fucking book. That's just it. I submitted myself to this. Anyways, I was not particularly looking for excellent books, but I did not sign up for this, and I would like a refund. Not necessarily a refund of Kindle Unlimited because, not necessary, but I would like a refund of my time. Kiss of the Blood Prince got 1 star from me, and I will be staying away from this author from now on. Unless you commission me, which you can do via my Ko-fi, which is in description below. My Patreon is also in the description below if you would like early access to my videos and pictures of cats. Anyways, this was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my suffering. I'm not drinking because, I'm taking a lot of medicine. I'm taking a lot of meds. I'm not doing so hot myself. So yeah. But yeah, this was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys never read this book because it's not worth your time. And I hope you guys understand that the British Museum stands for a height of colonization that we should never be seeing again in this earth if we are meant to live in an equal society. Also, the British Museum should give back everything that it stole from other places because it doesn't belong there. Also, there are better ways to prove humanity is worth saving than that. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!